Welcome to the Dream Huge podcast, where we'll talk with real estate investors, entrepreneurs, business leaders, athletes, and more to inspire you with their success stories so you can work hard, never give up, and dream huge. And now, let's start the show.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Dream Huge podcast. Man, super excited for this one today, folks. We love to share success stories from huge dreamers, folks in the real estate business, entrepreneurs, movers, shakers, influencers, and more. And hopefully these stories will help to motivate and inspire you to also dream huge, baby. And today we are joined by two very special co-hosts, JP for 3, John Pavlansky. What is up, my man?
Pete, what is going on, brother? I am excited for this episode. We're going to talk some business, building some business growth. We're going to talk a little bit of real estate. We might even dive into the Birds being better than the Commanders. We might even dive into that. I don't know. But I'm super excited for this episode. And we're going to throw it over to the other co-host, Mark. How are you doing, brother?
Good, man. I'm excited to be here. Always excited, man. Let's kick it off.
Mark, nice office.
I know, man. Doesn't it look good?
Gee, I thought you were in a little changing room or something, but I find out you're in a big high-rise apartment complex, office complex, skyscraper, coming soon to Dream Huge. Hey, man, we have Gary Harper today. He is with sharperprocess.com. How you doing, Gary?
Good, Pete. Thanks for having me on, Mark. It's great to meet you as well. Me and John were catching up a little bit. Fun group of guys. I loved it. The energy was so high. Pete, John, and then Mark. Mark's like, I'm here.
That's how I am, man.
I love it. It's good stuff. It
You
balances
can't
it out.
These guys are hard to match.
I'm saying, like, I'm feeling it. I'm like, uh-oh. Do I have to get up that high? And then Mark brought it down for me. So I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'm good. Mark just balanced it back out.
That's the yin and yang right there.
It's good. Made me feel more comfortable, Mark. I thought I was going to have to jump off.
That's great. Hey, so all levels of various levels of energy here in the Dream Huge podcast. So Gary, tell us a little bit about, let's dive right into it, what you guys do at the Sharper Process.
Sharper is an ecosystem of about 14 different businesses, some in Sharper, some outside Sharper. I have everything from a horse breeding company to studios to a consulting business, which is probably what we're known the most for. Sharper Business is a company that helps people scale properly, helps them reach their full potential, their business success, if you will. I've written 6 books. I'm a best-selling author of 2. One is the Purpose to Rise book, and it's a book about real estate entrepreneurs scaling to their purpose. It's a fable, and I wrote that, and that's become a bestseller. It's on Amazon as well. And then I have the Rise Business Framework, which is about 266 pages, 65,000 words, that teaches people how to scale their business from like startup all the way to success. And so that's what we do in Sharper Consulting. But a lot of different businesses, hiring a company that helps you hire, another company helps you document your process, procedures, and policies, different types of things. I like to kind of refer to it as the one-stop shop for business entrepreneurship.
Fantastic. So essentially those 2 books you showed us, one was a method that, or a fable, as you put it, on someone that scaled their real estate business. And the other one was on how scaling business overall in general, correct?
Yeah. So the fable, they use the Rise Business Framework. You actually refer back to that book, and they go to a conference, and the speaker's there, and they have the book, and they're doing a book signing, and they meet the guy, and he comes in, and he's like, hey, if you ever want me to come in and help you scale your business, let me know. And the guy's like, yeah, I want to hire you. And he's like, when you get this stage, call me and I'll come in. And he does. Reggie Singers comes in and helps this guy grow his business, right out of Chicago to scale. And it's all about the like ups and downs, fable wise, like storytelling of how a person goes from like startup all the way to success and the struggles in real estate that they overcome. And it's kind of a conglomerate of all the stories of me coaching 4,000 businesses in the last 9 years and seeing like all the, honestly what it is the patterns that I see, right? I always talk about wisdom. Like, what is wisdom? Wisdom is patterns, the ability to see a pattern, right? And so like, that's what that is. That book's kind of like my wisdom of 9 years of all the really common patterns that I see entrepreneurs struggle with, but in a fable form, so you're able to relate to the characters and story. This is very tactical, right? That's like a textbook. That's like what you get in college, and you go systematically through it while you adjust and implement in your business. So, it really depends on the end of the day, like your user experience. Like, do you want something that's tactical, or you want something that you're going to emotionally connect with that can kind of help you see a story and how to overcome that story?
Fantastic. So in the real estate example, is there a particular formula or equation that your hero uses to scale up?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the framework, right? They attach to every great story as a hero, and every great story, and it's a whole Donald Miller approach. Every great story has the supporting cast and then the hero. For every Eagles fan out there, they had to learn from a Redskins fan at some point. So there's what that kind of brings that together. But they have to have aspire to reach some level of success. Without
question.
Yeah.
Who does a Cleveland Browns fan learn from?
I mean, Ohio State.
Yes.
Ohio
Thank
State.
goodness we have the Buckeyes. Oh,
I mean, man, honestly, at the end of the day, there's like, Pup Warner, then there's Cleveland, and then there's Ohio State, right? Like, it's at a whole nother level. I mean, Ohio State should be playing the Eagles, to be honest with you. But no, I mean, in the story, it's all about like attaching to the guide. And Reggie Singer's the guide in the book, and the hero is the entrepreneur reaching their story and their success. But they use the framework, and RISE stands for something. RISE stands for like rising to your full potential, rising to your success. And RISE stands for resource, inspiration, systems, and engagement. And the reason for that, Pete, is because businesses go through 5 stages of business growth, right? From the time you start a company starts with a passion, a product that makes profits, right? You got a passion for something, you find a product, and then it makes you profits. You're like, I'm going to start a business. This is what we're going to do. From that, you go into resources, which is time, money, and people, right? You got a predetermined time that you're going to let this business succeed or fail, right? Once you have that, then you look at it and go, how much money do I need to make? How much money do I need to spend? And how much do I want to keep? That's a business performance. And then you look at it and go, who do I need? What seats am I going to sit in? What people do I need? Right? And time, money, and people are the resources to a company's start. That's what a tree needs to grow, right? It needs water and nutrients and sunlight. Resources need to birth that business and allow that passion to come into excitement and reach its full potential. But then we have to inspire, right? You have to move into inspiration, which is the eye of the RISE, is how do we inspire these resources? What's our purpose? What's our passion? Because you can't reach success without purpose, because purpose creates passion creates obsession, and obsession creates success, right? Nobody ever becomes successful at something if they don't at some point get obsessed about being successful about it. And they can't become obsessed about it if they're not passionate about it. And you don't have passion if you don't have a reason, a purpose. Everybody always thinks the purpose is the feelings. It's not the feelings. It's the tactical. It's like, this is what I'm going to go do. The passion is the feeling. And when the purpose and the passion come together, we get obsessed. And obsession drives success. And so that's what inspiration is about. What's my vision? What's my goals? What's my values? What am I doing? How am I protecting this business? Right? How am I staying focused on what I need to do? Focus being an acronym, right? If we're going to reach success, we've got to follow one course until successful. That's what focus stands for.
True statement.
Mm-hmm. What are you staying focused on?
And that stands for unlawful carnal knowledge.
Yeah.
Yep. See, I got acronyms too. You got acronyms for everything, though, Gary.
I do, bro. I like acronyms. I like acronyms a lot.
No, but a lot of this is hitting home to me because, I'm a small business owner, and all 3 of us are. And, I'm without a true plan. My plan day to day is, of course, increase revenues, help more people, and while minimizing expenses. But the actual plan in place, and I'm guilty of that, but I'm just like most great entrepreneurs. I just wing it and take action, figure it out as I go.
Sure.
But at some time, you need to put the structure into place, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a difference between being an entrepreneur and being a business owner. Robert Kiyosaki talked about the 4 areas of business, right? When he wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is kind of the book that got us all. I think it was the one book that kind of changed the trajectory of like a lot of people going into real estate. I know it was for me. Him and Carlton Sheets in the 90s were like my 2 guys that, I doped up on all their stuff, between the 2 of them. But Robert Kiyosaki, he's talking about self-employment. He talked about, employee, self-employed, business owner, investor. And really the truth is people call themselves an investor that really are self-employed. And they're not even really running a business yet. And the difference between self-employment and running a business is the plan. Like that's where we live. We live in that framework of like moving you from self-employment into business ownership. That's where Rise and Business Sharper lives.
He says in that book too, the cash flow quadrant, one of the first books. I actually read the cash flow quadrant before I read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay.
And he says in that book, if you can't say confidently that you can leave your business for a year and it'll be better or the same as when you left it, you're not a business owner. You're self-employed.
You're self-employed. Yeah. And that's what the plan does. A system gives us that ability to let go without losing control. Right. And that's the key. And I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs struggle is letting go. How do I let go and not lose control? So many entrepreneurs want to put their business on autopilot. But the problem is it's like on autopilot to land. You don't know it's about to crash. And you just let go. And a lot of these guys end up on beach seats somewhere thinking that that's what a visionary seat is a beach seat.
So how do we let go without losing control?
I mean, you have to have trust. So trust comes from a lot of different places in a business. You have to be, and you have to have trust and confidence, really. Confidence in your people, confidence in your profits, confidence in your process, confidence in your communication, your structure. You got to have confidence in the vision. You got to have confidence in your goals. Once you have confidence, you have to be willing to trust the people and the process and everything to let go. And trust comes from somewhere. It comes from time and results. Over what period of time did you get the results and are you willing to let go? And that's what happens. People trust too soon. And then they don't get the results and it hurts their business. And now they get that PTSD and they're like, I can't do that again. I can't let go. Everyone wanted me to build this business and let go. And I did. But the business didn't fail. It didn't fail you. The system didn't fail you. You failed it by letting go too soon. Right? You didn't let go in the right time. And one of the things that helps me as an entrepreneur, even a business coach, I have 14 of my own companies. I got to let go too. Right? Like, I'm an entrepreneur at heart, but I want to be a business owner. And so the entrepreneur in me is like, do it myself. The business owner in me is like, get it done. Like get somebody else to do it. And so like the way I let go is I have to start with the resources. I got to get the right people. And not just in the right people, but the right seat. And here's the thing, I got really tired. I wrote about it in Rise. I got really tired of hearing the cliche statement, right people, right seat. You hear that, but it's like, what does that mean? Like at the end of the day. In Rise, you'll actually realize there's a lot of things in there that you've heard before, but they're not what to do, they're how to do those things. And the what is very different than the how. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, what should I do? Right people, right seats. But really what you're asking is, how should I put the right people in the right seats? Right? It's information versus implementation is what it is. And so right people, right seats, right people comes down to two things. Do you trust them? Right? Did they get results over the time frame that you had them? Right? And do they align with your goals? That's where it comes from. Do you trust them, values and vision? And do they align with your goals? That's it. It's a double V effect. Do you trust them with values? Do they align with your vision? That makes them the right people, but that doesn't mean they're in the right seat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the type of mindset, like you said, you personally have 14 businesses, and that's what some people can't quite understand. Myself, just learning to understand, you can only have one job. You can only have one job, but you can have unlimited amounts of businesses.
You can.
When you start to implement things like that.
100%. You get the right people, right seat. I like to give a little bit of ownership to some of those businesses so that I literally don't want to be involved. So if they want me involved, they got to pay for my involvement, just like anybody does as a business coach. Like if they want me to come in and coach them, they got to pay my fee for me to coach them. Otherwise, they're earning their keep. Right people, values and vision. Right seat is what I call the heart, the head, the hands, and the feet. And I write poems. I like to write a lot of poetry. So it goes a little bit like this. The heart, the head, the hands, the feet tell me you're in the
right seat.
Right? So what does that mean, heart, head, hands, feet? It means desire. And by the way, I think a big mistake that entrepreneurs make, especially in real estate, is they put people in seats based on position. And that's not what you put somebody in a seat on. You put somebody in a seat based on process. You don't hire for a position. You hire for a process.
Dive a little deeper into that for us, Gary.
Yeah, for sure. You probably don't hear that much, right? Like most people are like, I'm going to hire this sales position. I don't want to hire a sales position. I want to hire a sales process. What is the process you're hiring for? Novations is a much different sales process than a fix and flip. The way you acquire innovations, vastly different than the way you acquire a fix and flip. Same thing with a wholesale agreement, right? Like that's a vast different way of acquiring a property than it is when you're buying it off the MLS. So the process changes from one type of way of doing things to another, and you want to hire somebody who has the right behavioral traits for the process. And it starts with desire. Do you desire to follow up 14 times with the seller? No, then you probably shouldn't do this job, right? Well, I've been in sales for 20 years, but doesn't mean you've done this process before. Totally different process. Car sales is vastly different at Toyota than it is at Tesla. Not the same. Mm-hmm. People that come into Tesla, they want the car already. They've already predetermined they want that car, right? Or they want to, harm the vehicles apparently these days. But that's the only reason people are coming into Tesla, I think. But people come into Tesla because they want the car, and you got to trap them. It's called a trapper process. You tell them how good they look in the car. You talk about the experience of the car. You talk about all the things that they're going to gain by buying this car. Toyota, it's a hunting process. Between Toyota and Ford and all the other cars that are in that category of car, somebody's not sold yet on whether or not they want this Toyota or they want the Nissan next door, right? So somebody's got to hunt that person, and the process of hunting is far different than the process of trapping, right? So you got to desire it, number one. Number two is you have to have the natural behavior to do it. We do a predictive index assessment on everybody that we're putting in a process because I want to know what your natural behaviors are. Do you have an independent behavior? Do you have the need for social interaction? Do you have a need to follow a process? Do you have a need to get it right? And if you have those needs in these certain areas, I may need you in a different process. Somebody that has a need to get it right every single time, I'm not going to put in sales.
Analytical.
They need to hear no 15 times before they get a yes. I would put that behavioral traits in finance though, right? So first is heart, second is head, third is skills. That's the hands. Do you have any training? Have you ever done this before? Can you prove to me you've gotten results? And then last is the feet. What's your upward movement opportunity? What's your competencies look like? I usually use like working genius to determine the feet. I look at it and go, what's your working genius? Do you have wonder and enablement? Do you have invention? Do you have discernment, galvanizing, tenacity? Because here's the thing. I'm not sure I want somebody in finance that doesn't have tenacity, right? So I want somebody who wants to get it done right every single time, and they have tenacity. That's the head and the feet. That tells me your potential. The desire and the skills tell me your performance. So the heart and the hands tell me your performance. The head and the feet tell me your potential. And that tells me you're in the right seat when I evaluate those four areas. So every interview process goes through 3 steps. First one is, am I putting you in the right seat? I evaluate the heart, the head, the hands, the feet. Second interview is, do you have my values and vision? Third interview, do you want me? Do you want me? I have to sell you on us now, right? Why should you come here? Because I've already predetermined now I want you. And when we have the right people sitting in the right seat, that's a first step to letting go. The second step to letting go is now we got to have metrics that tell us when to come back in, right? And so in Rise, I wrote the 4 KPI system. The first KPI is, what's your purpose indicator? How are you measuring your purpose? At Sharper, our purpose is to do a good work that supports God's work, right? Our purpose indicator that we do to measure that is, what's our retention rate, and did we give $2.6 million to God's work yet? That's our goal. And so if we did enough good work and people stay within our program to make enough money to get back to God's work, then we're hitting our purpose. The second KPI is our profit indicators. I want to know, if we gave 2.6, how much do I have to make to give 2.6? Well, $26 million. So now I've formed the whole strategy on the company based on my profit indicators. Every single time you have a quarterly training session or meeting with your business, You come together, and the number you're looking at in that strategy meeting is your profit indicators. Did we make the money this quarter we were supposed to make? Mm-hmm. And if you don't, then you change strategy, right? So your key profit indicators are your strategy metrics. Your key purpose indicator is your cultural metric. You know, in 21 years of coaching, I've never gone into a business in a quarterly and somebody's like, Gary, I want to change strategy. I think I just made too much money. Nobody's ever done that. Everybody's always like, I don't think this is working. Why? We're not making the money. So we adjust strategy. But once we have that purpose indicator and we have that strategy, profit indicators, now we can drive to performance indicators. What are the results? How many contracts do I got to get? How many sales do I got to have? Those are the results that we're looking to get every single week to drive us to profits. That drives us back to our purpose. But the one metric that changes it all for us, that really gets us to the point that we can let go and not lose control, is what I call the process indicator. And we build down from purpose to process. So what's your purpose? Well, how do you measure it? What's your profits? How do you measure that? How are you measuring your strategy? What's your performance? And then last, what is your process indicators? What are your daily tactical metrics that are telling you every single day that this is working? And then if you do this in compound, you're going to get results, which is performance. Performance is going to lead you to profits. Profits is going to give you your purpose. And that's the key, guys. That's the absolute key right there, is being able to get it tactically down into a daily number, right? I lost 110 pounds in the last 2 years. I was at 320. I'm down to like 215 right now. And I'm feeling good, okay? And I'm losing more. I still got some more to come off, but I'm getting there. But you know what I did? I figured out my purpose. Why do I want to do this? And then I figured out, what do I need to gain? That's profit. I need to gain healthy blood work. I need to gain muscle. I need to gain these things, right? What do I have to perform every single week? My scale's got to go down and my weight's got to go up. But how do I get there? Well, I got to eat this amount of protein, these amount of carbs, and this amount of fat. These are my macros. Those are my daily process indicators. I got to walk 8 to 10,000 steps. That's my daily process indicator. I got to drink 100 ounces of water every single day. That's a process indicator. And see, that compound effect of those daily process indicators get me a lower scale and a higher weight. That get me to my gaining my blood work, that I get my blood work done every 90 days, and ultimately fulfill my purpose of longevity and higher impact in life. Mm-hmm. Business is no different. The thing is, guys, at the end of the day, what is simple to do, this is simple. It's also simple not to do. And that's why Sharper exists, because Sharper exists to hold you accountable to do the things that are easy to do. People go, well, I can do that on my own. Why do I need you? Because you won't, or you would have. John, you just said it on the call, right? Tell them what you told me before we jumped on. What is it not to hire coach?
First of all, Pete, you owe Gary $9.95 for that today, for today's lesson.
Yep.
No, I literally was just telling Gary this before we even hopped on while I was waiting on you guys. We hired a business coach and we hired a real estate coach this year, me and my TC. And my goodness, how much has changed. And not necessarily like we're doing better, we're growing, but we're doing the same amount of business that we did last year, and I'm not working as much. And I feel better about myself. I feel better about everything going on. And I have more clarity now than ever on what my purpose is, on where I'm going, why I'm going there, and how I'm going to get there. Before, exactly like Pete said, I was flying the night. Hey, do you want to start a brokerage? Are you going to start a real estate team? How many rentals do you want to get to until you retire? I don't know. I don't even know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm going day by day. And now I know every single day the actions that I'm taking are towards that common goal of me being able to retire at a hopefully young age and be able to spend time with my family and be there to be the coach and be the dad and take them to school and pick them up. I know that's my purpose now. I know that's the clarity that I have.
Yep.
Massive difference.
Yeah. And it seems to me that, and we keep going back to that word process, and what else we want to go back to and summarize is we're going to reverse engineer everything, right? We're going to start with the result that we want, and we're going to reverse engineer that down to the day. Mm-hmm. And these are our daily actions that we are going to do and have someone hold us accountable to do, mm-hmm. and move towards that end result and trust that process.
True. That's so true. It's exactly what we're looking for. And when we get there, now we start to build that confidence, right? That confidence and trust is starting to build. We know because we can come back in, or we're called back in when the numbers aren't being hit. And that's our indicator to come back in. And here's the thing, like if you're the visionary of your own company, call it CEO, I call it the innovator. Really what you are is an entrepreneur, you're an innovator. Like your job in the company is to innovate process. That's your job. Like you need the process indicators to tell you when it's not working. I mean, think about it, guys. How many times, I don't know how long you guys been in real estate. I've been in real estate since 1997, right? So I've been in real estate a long time. I can't tell you how many times I've had to reinvent the process to get it to work again. I mean, in a big way in 2008, I was in real estate in 2008, lost it all, filed bankruptcy in 2010. Like it was not a good couple of years for me. And I had to reinvent, right? Because the world shifted, the market shifted. And like I had to go from buy and hold, which is something John's doing, to like wholesale. Because I wasn't trusting real estate, right? I went to wholesale because I'm like, I got to get in and get out. I don't want to lose my shirt again on this stuff. You know, so like we're constantly looking at processes and reinventing the wheel in real estate, and with regulations and laws changing and, you know, things that are happening. I think right now there's almost like 6 states right now that like laws for wholesale have vastly changed. I'm actually going to be Thursday and Friday in South Carolina, and I don't even think it's legal there anymore. So
with the process, I heard a quote about that one time. It's not the strongest who will survive. It's not the smartest. It's not the quickest. It's those who adapt to change the best. That's who will survive. And I think that's what we're speaking to here. So, Gary, we're up over 27 minutes. Final thoughts?
Man, I think, you know, as an entrepreneur, if I was to start all over again today, the very first thing I would do is go replace my fear with knowledge. You know, every single person that starts with some level of fear, apprehension of where they are and what they need to do. And that's why I wrote the books. That's why we have these podcasts, right? Like you're listening to a podcast today because it's our job to dream big, right? As you put it, dream huge. Like, how do we get to huge? What does that mean in our lives? And what's standing in our way? Well, it's fear. Fear starts standing in your way. And the only way to get rid of fear is knowledge. And so consume. Gain knowledge. We're in an information age like we've never been. Once I have that knowledge, then I would adjust my mindset, right? And I would look for connections in my life that are going to take me to that next level. And then the systems and processes, right? If I was to start over again, I'd start with fear. I'd adjust mindset. I'd make connections, and I'd build my business with systems and processes.
It's simple. It's simple when you say it like that, Gary. It is. But it is simple at the end of the day, too. Exactly like you said. It is. But it's overcomplicated because exactly what you said, most people know what they want to do, but they won't do it.
Yeah.
They know, but they won't.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, business is simple. It's just not easy.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Awesome nuggets there. Go back and replace that fear with knowledge. Love it. Great stuff. Gary, where can folks get a hold of you? Contact you.
Go to sharperbusiness.com. That's the best place to reach us. I'm on all social. You can find me on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and all those places under Sharper. And that's probably the best way to reach out. Or go to GaryHarper.com as well. Either one of those is fine, but you'll find us on all those platforms.
Fantastic. JP, Mark, thank you very much for taking the time today, fellas. Appreciate y'all very much. Thank you, Gary. I'm Gary Harper. I'm Sharper Business, sharperprocess.com as well. Reach out and improve those processes. Thank you, everybody, for watching the Dream Huge podcast. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And as always, remember the rules. Replace fear with knowledge. Work hard. Never give up. And dream huge, baby. Gary, to the guns, Gary. Yeah. Down, keep dropping them pounds, baby. Loving it.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Dream Huge podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. For more inspiring content, follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Dream Huge Realty and on TikTok at Dream Huge Inc. Until next time.